Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Martin. I am a Sidebar member and also facilitator for today's session. And it is a great privilege and honor to talk to you a little bit about Sidebar and also introduce Joseph Thompson and Joseph Barkley. Sidebar is a referral and invitation only leadership community where we as senior professionals come together in order to expand and grow our mindsets. And we help each other and support each other in intimate circles and in intimate conversations in order to grow faster together. Our community is built upon the mission, or our community is built upon the values of generosity, growth, and trust. And we're on a mission to unleash everybody's full potential. And as a personal anecdote, I've been a member of Sidebar now for a little over a year and a half, and I have built some of the most meaningful, trusting relationships. Personally, I have a couple of mentees that I have built these incredibly transparent, very vulnerable relationships where I have incredibly fulfilling conversations, learning from them. They learn from me. We get to test and iterate things that we're both teaching each other. And in addition to that, I also am incredibly happy with all the circles that I've been part of. So if you're interested in learning more, please feel free to reach out and DM me. Again, my name is Kim Martin. So I'm happy to talk to you more about that. And I'm also excited to introduce another member and also Joseph Barkley. So Joseph Thompson, he has been a member of Sidebar since 2024 and also a full-time executive coach since 2020. Prior to all that, he was a school administrator and a teacher. He also happens to be a father of six, a published poet, and a trained sommelier. So if you're a parent and you need some parenting advice, and also you need to know which wine that you need to drink in order to help you with some of that parenting advice, I think Joseph Thompson might be your person.
Your guy.
So
Nailed it, Kim.
just as a side note, that last bit was not part of his bio. I just inferred all that. So just saying.
Connected the dots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Something that LLMs may not always be able to do. Anyway, so Joseph Thompson is a dedicated student of human performance and is a eternal and committed optimist, believing that we as humans are capable of much. Joseph Barkley, who is the co-host of today's Fireside Chat, has been an executive coach since 2022. He used to write songs for TV. He has been is a serial founder and an author of 3 books. He's a seasoned speaker and has had more personal transformations than your average cat's 9 lives. In addition to that, he lives in Pasadena with his wife and 2 kids, 2 daughters specifically. So if you need parenting advice, I'm sure Joseph Barkley has some of that too. However, he may not be able to talk to you about which wine to drink during which of those conversations.
I'll
So,
drink it alongside you, though.
Like a
so
champ.
there you go. Joseph Barkley, Joseph Thompson, let me know if you want to, or let us know if you want to cover anything else about yourselves, but feel free to dive in.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. Like Kim shared, I've been a Sidebar member since early 2024. Have really found this community to be just so rich with people who are very curious. And specifically, one of the things I've noticed about the community is that nearly everyone is thinking about and they're curious about their next level. And in the coaching work, the executive coaching work that Joseph Barkley and I do together at the firm, and when we train coaches, in that work, one of our starting points actually is a very grounded belief that everyone has a next level and no one gets there alone. And so trying to do the work, and I think everybody here would agree with this, trying to do the work of leveling up without recruiting help, whether it's a mentor, a coach, a consultant, a therapist, or a community like Sidebar, that work, without doing that, it's like running on a hamster wheel. It's a lot of energy, but no forward motion. And so the other thing we found to be true is that more often than not, the unlock to that next level doesn't come in the form of advice or suggestion, though that is really helpful to get advice from mentors. But I know I've experienced this. I know my clients experienced this. I know JKB, you've experienced this. But that the most provocative unlocks come in the form of questions. Questions that change how we see ourselves, questions that change what you believe is possible. At Novus Global and at the Meta Performance Institute, where we train coaches, we call these nuclear questions. And actually every session with a client, before every session, they answer one of 5 questions as prep for that coaching call, and one of them is like literally we call it the nuclear question. What is something nuclear that we could be talking about? So these are questions that are powerful enough to create chain reactions in your life. And so today, our invitation, if you choose to accept it, is the question that we're going to go explore is, should I become a coach?
Yeah.
One of the things I've noticed about the community is, again, you're exploring your next levels. And that might be because you're navigating layoffs as the industry shifts. It also could be from a place where you're considering how to leverage your decades of leadership experience, your talents and your gifts. Some of you are building portfolio careers where, yes, you've got your main gig and you have several side gigs. And so our goal today isn't to convince you to become a coach at all. Like,
Right.
let me be really clear. Like, that's not the point of this. But we definitely, from our perspective, have seen that if nobody's asking this question, then it goes unexplored. And so our goal today is to help you think more clearly about whether coaching could be a meaningful next chapter. And if you are a coach, because I know there are several in this community, what options are available for you to level up? And so let's begin with some community participation. Here's a nuclear question for you. Who, and it invites you to either come off video or come onto video, go off mute to answer, or put your answer in the chat to this question. Who is one person who changed the trajectory of your life? Drop their name, their role, or their relationship with you into the chat. Who's one person that changed the trajectory of your life? Let's see. Rondier says, my first manager. Yeah. Anybody else? My last boss who recruited me, first manager. Yep. JKB, Miss Figueroa. Huh? Andy Crawford. Thanks, Todd. Anybody else? Shalini, your last manager, who's also a mentor.
Also, do we want to invite Rondier? Rondier, if you want to get off mute and talk to us a little bit, if you could tell us more about your first manager, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize the value of having an amazing manager because he was at that point, my first and only manager. So only in reflection do I realize how much of an amazing manager he was. And specifically what he did was to channel my interests and frustrations into something that was both positive for me and for the company. And specifically at that point, I was in HR and very interested in technology. And I was complaining bitterly about the state of our HR software and HR processes, etc. And he could have just let me simmer in that discomfort and unhappiness. And he's like, "Yep, I agree. That's all. That is a sad state that we're in. And here's what I'd like you to do and lead to make this better." And really channel that, which I thought was a wonderful way of dealing with a precocious young pain in the ass on his team.
That's great. Thank you
Thanks,
for
man.
sharing that.
Anyone else want to share a little bit more, expand on their manager, their mother, Andy Crawford?
I can share
Hi, Shalini.
a little bit. Hi.
Is it Shalini? Is that how you pronounce that?
It's Shalini. It rhymes with colony.
Shalini. Great. Thank you.
Shalini. I'm glad I asked. Shalini. What a great name.
I think like other people I have, there's a lot of people who have made like just either given me a statement or done something profound. So I think my last manager, I think, was someone who effectively was a manager, but also a mentor. And I think they just really exhibited this thing that you want to see, which is they really take seriously the concept of if I make you look good, you make me look good. And while that seems like that should be a really common sense tactic and approach, it's
You'd
something that
think.
falls apart a lot. And so yeah, it's just not there with most other people. So I think someone who can demonstrate that across the team and exhibit that with himself was always valuable.
Thank you.
Yeah. JKB, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I have had a lot of unique people in my life who've created some significant life change. I do want to share a recent story because this might also stimulate your thinking around how to impact lives, the lives around you that are creating an impact on you. But again, really circling around this theme of powerful questions. If we can upgrade the questions we're asking, we have a shot at upgrading our lives. Advice is great. Input, here's an answer to that question. Here's a system that you need. But there is something that is far more empowering, if I can use a word that is often used, empowering about asking someone a question that they can wrestle with and think through, and their own innovative genius brain gets to come up with answers to it that might help not only be productive in the moment, but actually changes the person so they become more productive in the long term. One of the visions of my family, which I shared for some of you who are jumping on early, was to create a home that not only our children would choose to come to, even when they don't have to come to it. And now, with an almost 21-year-old, we're starting to see some of that vision materialize. But we wanted to create a home that they wanted to bring their people to. And we got this house in the hills of Pasadena years and years ago and gutted it to the studs. And we created this beautiful home that was abuzz with noise and activity and mess because it became the place that our kids wanted to be and wanted their people to be. This is a picture of a couple Christmases ago. This is my oldest daughter playing my guitar, singing Christmas carols to us. This was December of a couple of years ago, and you can see some of the mess down on the floor around the place that really became kind of the heart of the home for us. This It was the only thing that we retained from the original build back in the 1920s, was this custom fireplace, and we absolutely loved it. And some of you may already know this about my story, but I don't suspect everybody does. We also were in the wake, or we were in the path of the Eaton Canyon wildfire. And so just a couple of weeks after this picture was taken, this is what that fireplace looked like. And I, as you can imagine, this was a moment full of emotions. This was one of the most difficult, confusing, challenging things that my family had ever endured, certainly till now. And I happened to be, within 48 hours of this fire, I happened to be meeting with my coach. And he's a colleague in our firm. His name is David Gerber. And he let me process through all of the things going on in my head and my heart, how hard this was for me. And then he said, "Hey, if I can ask you a question that I don't want you to immediately answer. I just want this to be a question that serves you. A question, and we'll use this phrase a lot, a question I want you to lift, like you're in the gym." I said, "Go for it." And he said, "What if this becomes the best thing that has ever happened to you?" And at first I got mad. I think I might have even flipped him off. Because that, like leg day, that felt like a lot of weight that I did not want to lift. And it seemed like the timing was bad and inappropriate. But as my coach, because he cared so much about me, what I was capable of, he cared about my family and my vision for the future. What if this is one of the best things that could have ever happened to you? And lifting that question continues to be one of the most resourceful exercises that I have ever encountered in my life. So even right now, before we continue and describe a little bit more about the work of a coach, whether you coach like us or you coach Little League or you coach as a leader in your organization or even in your family, uh, I I would invite you to connect to something right now that might feel particularly hard or confusing, something that doesn't feel fair, It might feel big, like a fire. It might feel small, like you got left out of a meeting. Um, but just connect to something right now. This is just for your own sake. So if you want to create value from this, that's up to you. And ask yourself the question, what if, or how might it be true? That's another way to ask this question. How might it be true that this could be the best thing or one of the best things that could have ever happened to me? How might that be true? Where might there be even 1% of resource in an otherwise very difficult, confusing, tough situation? As you're sitting with it, we're going to do this from time to time, even if at first we're not hearing a lot of voices, no problem. But if something comes up, it might encourage the rest of this group to throw that in the chat or even verbalize that. You don't have to give the specifics of the scenario, but if there's some like, actually hadn't thought about this, or there's a creative idea that's popping up for me, what are a couple of words to describe that might help benefit everybody on this call? What if this is the best thing that ever happened to me? Anything coming up? I should open the chat just in case there's activity in here. All right. If at any point, as we're sharing and asking more questions, something comes up, again, I think as a value to yourself and for the community that's on this call, I would really encourage you to share that because that's a way that we certainly can create some value together. One of the things that might have been clear from the beginning, but it may not be clear, so let me state this explicitly. There's nothing to sell here. So even if you wanted to buy something from the two Josephs, I'm sorry, you could meet me over on Facebook Marketplace, I suppose. The point of our time with you today is to give you a sense of one way that you can create impact in people's lives through the profession of coaching, which is what Joseph and I do, along with 100 and well, now it's I suppose 99 of our other colleagues within Novus Global. It's an elite executive coaching firm, and then Joseph and I also spearhead our training arm. It's a sister company called the Meta Performance Institute that trains people to become a particular kind of executive coach. So some of you may be coaches, consultants. Some of you just bring some of that coaching talent and gift to how you lead and how you support others. Wonderful. Like Joseph said earlier, this is not a career path for everybody, but for those of you who have a certain amount of wisdom and heart to impact somebody's lives, to raise up the next generation, to help organizations, teams, families through a confusing season to come out the other side more clear and stronger, then maybe the profession of coaching is something you may want to consider. It's something you're already considering. If you are a coach, it may be what's the next level of impact or even income that you desire to make. How would I build that? So we're going to share a little bit, even though most of this is meant to be a fireside chat. Interrupt at any point, ask questions at any point. And we're going to share a bit of our experience of what makes for high impact coaching. And this might help you clarify whether it's with us or it's some other way that you do this. Yeah, I think actually that might be something to add to my portfolio of impact I make, or it's a career path that might be next for me. So I just want to make sure before I sally forth that there's not questions here. Oh, I see this. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Reorg. Yep. That's beautiful. Julie, thank you so much for that. So over the years, what we have learned in what we call building a premium coaching practice, and I know that premium is only an adjective, so I want to provide some more clarity. Joseph and I can fill in what we mean when we say that. It's easy for anybody to say they're a premium, whatever. But there is a distinction between a certain class of coach and a certain impact of coach and others. Based on statistics, about 92% of people who call themselves coaches and consultants are doing this by themselves, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In the United States, at least, most people who are running solopreneur development practices, life coaching, consulting, executive coaching, are usually their gross revenue per year is somewhere between $42,000 and $92,000 a year. Again, not at all bad. That's not good or bad, but it may or may not be your vision for what you want to do and the impact you want to make moving forward, how you want to provide for your own future and your family. So when we talk about premium, at least from our perspective, what we're talking about is a certain class of coach, not better or worse, just different, that is usually going to be generating top 7% of revenue of development coaching in the world, and is providing a kind of result in the lives of their clients where what they're not doing is constantly selling coaching, but instead they're building long-term partnerships with their clients because they're seeing repeated results that everybody's proud of. And another factor that we'll often see is that premium coaches are generally not a one man or one woman operation where they're wearing absolutely every hat. So usually those are some of the things that mark premium coaching. What I want to do, and I'm going to stop sharing this screen and share a different one, is draw out some of the qualities that we've noticed that are present in the practice of a premium coach. And here's why this could be valuable for you. As I'm really quickly going through these essential ingredients, you can self-assess. Ask yourself some powerful questions. Where might I already have a pretty big head start to impact lives in this way? Or, where might I have my biggest gaps? And I need to figure out how to close those gaps somewhere in the world. All of that might be worth the cost of admission, is just to identify, hey, I actually think I've got something to offer here. And here's something that I may have to shore up to really make the impact that I want to make. So I'm going to share my iPad through AirPlay. I'm using all the technology today, guys. Send up a prayer for me. I don't know if this will work.
Flexing on us.
I know. We'll see if this plays out. You're also going to get to see my drawing skills here in just a second, so you're welcome. All right, you see my iPad?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's working. All right, wonderful. Okay, so really, and very quickly, there are 3 qualities that we have found together that create what we call a premium coaching practice. And again, this is for your own self-assessment. We have noticed that premium coaches, of course, have what we would call exceptional ability to impact lives. And I'll tell you what I mean by that in just a second. And then they also have exceptional business development skills. Like, can they actually put the business together to make money, to consistently serve people, to deliver to their clients in a consistent way? And then also coaches at this level have developed what we might call premium relationships. And I'll help you identify if which relationships you have, which ones you might need to go find and connect with. But before I get into the specifics of coaching ability, a powerful question, a nuclear question that you may want to ask yourself is, what kinds of conversations do I already uniquely know to have with people to make an impact in their lives? Am I an advice giver? Am I really a powerful question asker? Just go through sort of the journal in your mind of the kinds of conversations that people seem to come to you for. I notice that I'm a comforter. Wonderful. I notice I'm actually kind of a drill sergeant. I get people activated to power up and go into battle. Great, wonderful.
Maybe you're somebody that reframes. Like, you're the person that people go to because they just need to see it from a different angle.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, you're that annoying person who says, maybe.
Yeah.
That's what my daughters would call me. But Dad, he's the worst. Maybe. Oh, that's great. Wonderful. So maybe even write that down. You might want to journal it. Like, I already have a head start. I'm this kind of a person. Wonderful. That might be part of the raw ingredients to be a powerful coach. Coaching, at least what we're seeing with high-level premium coaching, and again, just to connect the dots to help you understand why we feel like we have any right to talk about this, is Novus Global statistically has our coaches are within the top 7%, maybe even the top 2% of development coaches in the world, not only based on their revenue, but based on their clientele and the impact that they're making. So the results the clients are getting, which really matters to us. And so this is some things we've learned from the front lines. Take it or leave it. So when we think about premium coaching ability, here's a few things to self-assess if you have this. One is that premium coaching ability is exclusively future-focused. In other words, and this is in contrast to great therapy. I have a therapist and a coach. Therapy is going to be almost exclusively focused on your relationship with your past, your emotions, and undesirable behaviors. Maybe it's self-harm, addictive patterns. My therapist has been clutch in my wife's life and my life to support us in that. Coaching, especially the way we coach, is exclusively focused on a picture of the future. We get a clear, white hot, measurable, seemingly impossible picture of the future, and we decide that that's the boss. That's who we're reporting every day. We report into work to that boss, this picture of the future that helps us understand which problems are even worth solving right now, which gaps are even worth closing right now. So we have found that premium coaches are exclusively, ruthlessly disciplined at being future focused. The other two pieces which go hand in hand for premium coaches is that premium coaches have this beautiful marriage between what we would call soul line coaching and goal line coaching. Goal line coaching is that every premium coach I have ever encountered or worked with creates measurable results. But while we're doing that, the real transformation is happening here. The best coaches in the world understand how to metabolize the experience of life on our way to the measurable results. And so not only will we celebrate some trophies and some zeros on the bottom line, or some new companies that are started, new people that are hired, whatever the vision is, new house that you get to buy. But the biggest thing, and frankly, the most powerful widget that gets turned out from that season is a changed life. This leader, this person, this mom, this entrepreneur, my daughters have coaches, this teenager would be able to say in very clear terms, man, I am a different person because of the experience of pursuing this vision.
One of the things
So,
that we'll even
go ahead,
see
Joseph.
is that the difference between the premium coach and the, lack of a better term, like the everyday solopreneur practitioner, is they even might be very talented at getting people their outcomes and coaching people toward their outcomes, and yet the experience that the client has is that their life is basically the same. They just have more stuff, or they've got another trophy. And then similarly, there's another, this might describe the life coach approach, which is very soul oriented. And by the way, we didn't come up with this distinction between soul line, goal line. That
Yeah,
comes from
that's right.
Steve Chandler. We have operationalized it to be very successful as a training mechanism and as an actual practice model. But and so the life coach who might lean more soul oriented, looking at mindset work, but has no um, goal orientation,
Mm-hmm.
can create a lot of really positive beliefs. But then the person goes off and does it without their coach. And they
Right.
go and they go about their daily life outside of the coaching relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So you might already self-assess that you've got a head start in one of these categories. I'll bet you do. I'll bet
Hmm.
you already are naturally inclined, or you've earned wisdom over the years of this is how I support people. This is how I do leadership development. This is how I parent my kids. Wherever it comes up, I'll bet you have a massive head start with at least one of these categories within your coaching ability. It is the increased growth in all three of these in concert together that we have found creates the kind of partnership that people continue to return to, invest in deeply, and celebrate the most. This person helped change my life, which I could say about my coaching partnerships about 100 different ways. There's not a category of my life that's not been transformed by my coaching partnerships. I want to really quickly move into business development. I also make up some of you have got a massive head start with this, but to be very clear with what makes for a successful coaching practice, whether it's you want to do it exclusively or it's a part of a portfolio of things you want to professionally engage in this next chapter. A couple of things that come up here is one is what we would call authority. And quite simply, you could call this market authority, you could call this brand authority or trust. does the market that you're going after, the people you want to serve, do they trust in your ability to serve them in that way? That's what we mean. Like if you were to go out tomorrow and say, hey, I'm going to hang out my shingle, this is what I do in the world, how quickly and how frequently would your ideal client, you would call it your ICP or the person that your target market would trust you with their time and probably their money to serve them in that way? This might be, you might already have a massive head start in this. Another one is, now I got to write sideways, is architecture. Oh, excuse me.
Nope.
You're seeing all of my business now. That's great. So now this is architecture. Another way to say this is just your business plan. This may be something that you can do in your sleep. This is something you're really good at leveraging robots to help with. Excuse me. Sorry about that. This is something you're really good at leveraging robots to do, is to put in together a business plan that develops the routines that you want, the way to piece together all of the revenue, cost basis things to develop to not only create a profit, but then to be able to grow a business and scale it. So that may be something you have a head start in your own wisdom and experience, or it may be a gap. And then finally, and this is a big one, is what some would call sales. We would call it clarity. We also call it sales. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And clarity means that how quickly and how genuinely do you help guide people to a clear answer about whether or not to do business with you? So that could, no is just as good as a yes, as many of us understand. But how effective are you at getting people there fast so they're not sitting in your pipeline? There's some relationship in the atmosphere that it's just continues to hang out there for months and months and months. Let's get to clarity fast for everybody's sake. And again, just to check in, when you think about yourself and whatever you're doing next, assess, do I have a head start here, or this might be one of the biggest gaps that I have? Great. Great to identify that so you can begin to solve the right kind of problems. Before I move on, Joseph, do you want to share anything in the business development side?
I think that last piece is just really important. And one of the things that we see in the coaches that do the, the highest levels of work is that there's a lack of neediness in them, and there's a high advocacy for the clarity of the person. They're like, let's create an experience that moves you to clarity, because nobody really likes sitting in maybe. We like it more than we say we do because we stay there for so long, in indecision. And the experience of being in a maybe is usually like fraught, and we know that. And so one of the ways that premium coaches just practice their craft is by helping move people toward yes or no as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Okay, last piece here. And then I'm going to give you a couple of questions to actually, before we get off the business development one, I did have a question in here that I had written down for myself. I was wrestling this one earlier in the week. If someone wanted to benefit, here's a question you might want to wrestle with. If somebody wanted to benefit from everything you've learned over the last blank years, so call that 20 years, 30 years, 5 years. If somebody wanted to benefit from everything that you have learned, the person you have become over the last block of time, would they know how? So rather than random selection, would a person who would love to benefit from the thing that you have to offer the world, would they know how? And so if the answer to that is yes, great. You may want to ask a secondary question. How would they find out?
Mm-hmm.
Or in what way am I making it clear that I'm available to them, if that's something you want? If the answer to that is no, how might they find out that I'm here to serve or I have something to offer? All right, I want to again move into the third component that we've found in our experience. We could be wrong about this, so we welcome pushback and debate and wrestle. But what we've noticed a pattern over training at this point, hundreds upon hundreds of people to do this in the world, is we've found a third piece that is often the biggest gap that many people are experiencing, and that is what we might call premium relationships. And so these show up also in three ways, just really quickly. One is an ever expanding network. So are you establishing a growing number of people who you are connected to, they know you and you know them, that you can either serve alongside or you could potentially serve? This one, not to get too abstract here, but I love to measure this one against the authority piece. So it's not only how many people do you know, but how many people do you know who trust you at the level that you want them to? Is that an ever expanding network? Great. Another one here that is often left out is, do you have what we might call colleagues or peers? So do you have a group, a mastermind? It could be a group like this. It could be Sidebar, where you really are exchanging best practices all the time so that you're growing faster. You are drafting off the wisdom of others. I will tell my daughters all the time, you get wisdom in two ways in life. You either steal it or you earn it. And every chance you get, steal it because earning it is so expensive. And I've learned that the hard way and the easy way in life. So, are there people, do you have the right kind of people in your midst at your board or on your board around you who can help you grow? And then finally, and this is massive and frankly, one of the biggest gaps that we see is, do you have a coach? We would highly recommend when we talk to clients, which we do all the time, we talk to potential clients and we say, whether you go with us or not, I would highly recommend you never hire a coach who doesn't have a coach. And yet, that is the case from some of our analysis. That is the case with most coaches in the world, most consultants in the world. Right now, no shame. That may be where you're sitting. I do actually do some coaching or consulting. And yet I don't have somebody who's really asking me to get in the gym and lift weights in a way that is growing me, giving me feedback that nobody else is giving me. Another way that I sometimes describe how we partner with people is everybody needs somebody in their corner who believes in them more than they believe in themselves, but is not impressed with them. And it's even better if that person is not your spouse, because that would describe my wife. She believes in me and is not impressed with me. But I also have a coach. So that
This
relationship's a
is one
little
of the
cleaner.
ways putting yourself into the coachee seat is something we see premium coaches do all the time. And one of the things that it will actually impact is your ability and your biz dev. And so it's a way to create a virtuous cycle where your own growth shows up in new ability and it's new authority, new architecture, right? And it's like creating the flywheel of greater and greater impact and greater results.
I've put a couple of questions that relate to this in the chat. And before we move forward, and we're just going to share for another few minutes before we hand off to Kim, who's got some things to share with us. But I'd love to still see some engagement. There might be somebody who comes to mind for you, or you might notice, hey, I actually have a gap in that. And you'd love to tell on yourself, which is so resourceful. Hey, I notice actually, I'm not sure I've identified these people. And as you're doing that, I'll set up for the last piece that we want to share with you that we trust you're creating value from. So this is just a much cleaner version of the thing that I already drew for you. You are welcome to take a screenshot. You can steal this for yourself. This is what we've put together based on the years that we've spent training people.
Yeah. And again, one of those things to be thinking and listening for is, again, if you're already our coach, it's what feels really strong, what feels like it's sturdy and I can keep building on. It's like the ballast as you go into, could I use some help? Where could I grow? This is an aspect of my game that's weaker than another. And we're assuming that you have gifts aplenty.
Oh, yeah.
And the question is like, how am I leveraging or even designing them to fuel my next level?
Some self-diagnosis here, and this is not meant to at all be a critique. It's more of an honest assessment, looking in the mirror and, oh, look, I've got spinach in my teeth. Usually people who have a lot of ability and they have a lot of relationships are generally going to be underpaid. So you're very good at helping people and you know a lot of people you could help, but you've not put together the business plan, the sales ability to actually get paid at the level of value you do create. So that may be a way that you're feeling it. Another imbalance we've noticed is if you felt your gap is actually the ability, like I can help people, but I don't know that I have a reliable set of tools to do it. I'm going off of gut instinct a lot. But you do know a lot of people who trust you and you're really good at putting a plan together. You can run a plan like anybody's business. But you lack the consistent skills. You may be what we would call a fragile brand. So, in other words, you might be able to sell it initially, but you can't deliver on it consistently. And so you might be back to the sales. You might be back on sales calls constantly. That's a lot of like cliffs and valleys. Maybe some of you who are in sales, you've experienced that before. Always feels like we're hunting. And then finally, we experience a lot of people who are really good at helping people. They've got some tools. They can work a plan like crazy, but they just don't feel like they know a lot of people. That's somebody who really might be an isolated operator. And that might be how you're feeling it right now. Like, yeah, I know I can help people and I can work a plan. Give me a plan, I can work it, but I just don't know
My
how to
network
meet.
is my ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. My network is my ceiling. Huh. Maybe isolated operator is how you're feeling it. Okay. Uh, these gaps are what prompted us to do the thing we do in the way that we do it. And that's why Joseph and I love this work so much. We just came, actually, it started from a powerful question that our founder and CEO, Jason Jaggard, asked, which was, what if coaching was not meant to be done alone? What if coaching was not meant to be a solo sport? What if we could get the best coaches in the world to coach together and the sum would be greater than the parts? Is that the phrase, Joseph? You're the literary guy. Is it the sum is greater than the parts? I got it. I nailed it.
Yeah. You got this.
Yeah, thanks. So Novus Global, like we said, it's an elite coaching firm. And I only say this to say this is where we're coming from. This is not something, I mean, you might be interested in Novus Global, but we're not here to sell the thing. We're just letting you know where we're coming from, that we have experienced incredible life and expansion by being a part of this community of coaches. These are not AI photos. These are not stock photos. These are actually our people. In fact, if we zoom in on this little one, you'd see Joseph and I in here somewhere. We are 101 coaches strong at this point in the firm from all over the world at this point, which is amazing. And then we train them through, there's Joseph and I and some of our partners and colleagues here. We train them through what's called the Meta Performance Institute, training them in these three categories: premium coaching ability, business development, and how do we expand powerful relationships? What if we could learn those things simultaneously? And every year, hundreds of people come through the Institute, whether they're going to be solopreneur coaches or they want to be a part of Novus Global. This is what we do. But that's just to frame up how we serve people in the world and why Joseph and I are so passionate about this. The thing that we would like to leave you with is a resource that's just for you. And it does not start you on a sales funnel. I promise. It really is just meant to be a resource that I actually went through again last week for myself. And it can be found at nuclearquestions.com. If you go to nuclearquestions.com, it is an assessment, a questionnaire. You've probably done a bunch of them. You've been to webinars and you've done that. But all this does is it's going to give you a result that you can use to identify, is there another level of impact in the world, another level of vision that's available for me? How might I identify where the gaps are? If you are interested in talking to us about it, you can see how to do that when you finish the questionnaire. But really, again, it's just for you. This is not going to subject you to something. So I would highly encourage you to go to nuclearquestions.com. And that's the portion of just of hopefully sharing with you, putting some of the concepts in front of you that you can use to assess, hey, coaching might be something that I'd be interested in this next chapter. Maybe not. Or it's part of a portfolio of what I want to be doing. Or, hey, maybe I'd like to find someone like this for myself to partner with me in this next level. I'd like to have a coach because all the best in the world have coaches. I'm an LA guy, so LeBron will stop having a coach when LeBron stops wanting to be the best.
At basketball, and then he'll get a coach
At
to do something
basketball
else because he's used to that.
And those might be fighting words for some of the people on this call. But yeah, so that's I hope this has been productive for you. At the end of the day, that's really up for you to find the data that's helpful for you to use for your own vision and your own life. Joseph, anything that you might ask or add here at the end before we hand it back over to Kim?
Nope.
Okay,
We do have a
great.
question from Ron Deere, if you want
Oh,
Yeah.
to.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd happy to answer that. So the top 10 are you, and just Randir, if you can clarify, are you saying the top 10 industry wide or in our firm?
Yes, even from your firm, I think I
Okay,
was
great. Yeah.
maybe anchoring to that top 7%
Yeah.
that
It's a great
Joseph King
question.
mentioned.
Yeah. So in the top 10% in our firm is anywhere between 350,000 annual. This is just as of today, by the way, 350 to 1.2 million.
And the median you said was somewhere around the 50K mark, right? So significantly
For
different.
development coaches in the world, and again,
Yeah.
this is in the world,
Yeah.
the average income is 42 to 93. I was just double checking it, 42 to 93,000 dollars US annually, gross revenue.
Thank you.
Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. Great question.
Any other questions?
Julie has an interesting
Yeah,
comment.
multiplayer.
Yeah, I think it came from a question though.
To use, I did multiplayer therapy plus coach 7-ish years ago.
I can speak
Oh,
to
so this
that.
was one person who was able to apply both skill sets, Julie?
Well, I think it's a really interesting idea. So it's more like a comment. It wasn't a question, just a response
Sure.
to what you were saying. But if I can ask a follow-up question based on that, like
Yeah.
Absolutely.
when you think about this idea of multiplier coaching, I'm not sure if that's how you phrased it, but let's say we phrase it in that way.
Hmm.
Coaching isn't meant to be done alone. You meant humans, right? Like working in a group. But
That's right.
also, I'm assuming that it also means that individuals can have multiple different types of coaching
Yes.
Oh, different
simultaneously.
modalities. Great observation.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
uh,
recommend that you go find like again, like put people on your board that serve different functions. Exactly.
Hmm.
yeah, so that was like a comment where people have been doing that for a while, and now it's
Hmm.
particularly timely because people are doing that more and more in an
Hmm.
LLM assisted way.
Yes.
That's a great observation, Julie. And I'll give you a parallel industry that we're noticing some multi-pronged skill sets that have become really in demand. Those of us who are keynote speakers, the ability to actually train and collaborate in a room is far more in
Yeah.
demand now than me getting up and giving a speech for 30 minutes. I can do both very effectively, and the firm has actually trained us to do it even more effectively. But those are two different skill sets that produce different results. And so, as a coach, also, you can bring to bear many of different modalities to serve the human in front of you. So, I love that, Julie. Thank you. Todd, did you have a question? Is that the hand?
Yeah. So I'm a coach. Been
Wonderful.
finished training and got my ACC last year.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you. I'm curious to hear about your journey to Novus because definitely the idea of coaching with other, like being a part of a group of coaches, is an interesting thing that I've explored. But I've noticed that they're all expecting you to have PCC certification, 500 hours of experience, blah, blah, blah. And it's
Right.
like,
ICF. Yep.
yeah, so I'm curious to hear about your journey, how you got there briefly, like what you learned along the way, because it is interesting. I just don't know how I would even do that.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure, Todd.
when I started and I was interested in I was being coached by our founder all of 10 years ago, and I asked him, I was like, how do you do this? And he shared he's like, well, either you get trained with us, or you build a practice, and bring your practice over. And and I'm not saying this is the right approach. I'm saying this is the Novus Global approach, which was to say, hey, like let's go create fruit, like be fruitful, and then let's see if there's compatibility, rather than leaning on the credential as the ticket. the ticket or admissions ticket in. We were just focused on results first. And just to be clear, like we have coaches that they're going after their MCC right now. We have coaches that are, I mean, they've got more initials behind their name than letters in their name. And so and that's great. And the culture that we've created is focused on how are you leveraging that for results in your clients' lives and in the pursuit of your own vision. And if you don't have an answer to that, then it's probably not a fit, because that's the horse instead of the cart of your certification.
Yeah.
Is that helpful answer, Todd? Great. If it's
Yeah.
not, please
I think I get a sense
edit.
for how you got there. That was part of my question.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
you my journey, Todd, and then if it's resourceful, we are happy to have a sidebar, haha, no
Yeah.
pun intended, with you for your vision, whatever that might be. As I was thinking about I was a consultant for years, and then I thought, and I had a coach change my life, so I wanted to become a coach, but I frankly wanted to skip the line, Todd. And what I wanted to do was I wanted great ability, so I want to surround myself with people who are really good at it. I had a theory that if I was with a group of people, I could draft off of their authority, so I could get into some rooms faster. And then I would grow faster because they're in my business. So that was a big piece of it. And then I can work a plan pretty well, but I needed to see a plan that was reliable. How do people build multiple six-figure practices? I didn't see that. Um, I didn't see that. What's the word I'm looking for? Combination. I didn't see that combination of um, necessary development. I'm not saying Novus Global is the only place that existed, but I found it there.
No.
And then those theories proved to be true. I was able to build an extremely lucrative practice in 6 months. And I was alongside wonderful ACC coaches, ICF coaches, working genius certified consultants. Like, bring all that with you. But I really wanted, frankly, I had a daughter who was about to go to college. I just needed to get there faster than me doing it by myself. So I don't know if that helps clarify, but those were some things that needed to check the box for me. So,
Just a
right.
quick interruption. Forgive me, Joseph
Please, Kim,
Barkley.
it's your show.
So I have had in the background a QR code with Sidebar survey for today's session. We value our feedback. We value your feedback. And like I said, and I began this conversation, growth, generosity, trust. Those are some of the values that our community is founded on. Growth being a key part, and your feedback helps us grow in order to better understand what sessions you're asking for, how this session could be perhaps changed or modified in the future, and then also any additional speakers that you might be interested in hearing as well. So please let us know, fill in the survey, and then Joseph Barkley or Thompson, I hand it back to you now.
Wonderful. Again, I'll put it back in the chat if you didn't see it before. Just go to nuclearquestions.com, and this will give you a certain high level, I put it in two separate words there, but it's one word, nuclearquestions.com. That'll give you a high level assessment of what maybe is your vision, whether that's wanting to become a coach or not. This is just to serve you. What's the next level for me? And then also from there, if you want to, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. We would love to support you in whatever way, even if we never transact. We just really, really love somebody who has a vision and wants to figure out what the next level of reinvention is for them. We eat, sleep, and breathe it. So we would be happy to serve. If that's appealing to you, it'll be obvious from that link how to get in touch with us. So that's it.
I have a question.
Please, Kim.
So I think the number one use case, number one and number three use case in 2025 for LLMs or generative AI was therapy and personal development.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that, and I think about how now you have different applications coming out. Personally, I just started using the Purpose app that's been co-built by Mark Manson.
Yeah.
I've also had my own personal executive coach, have my own therapist. So I have a board that I've been collecting throughout the years. And I'm curious what your thoughts are when we think about the coach, multi
Mhm.
board of advisors to help personally develop an individual, where those,
Yeah.
let's say a person just goes to ChatGPT and uses chat or Claude versus a person who invests in a platform that's designed for that versus somebody who's just
Absolutely.
Googling their own answers.
We are, and we've actually just recently put out a podcast where I was speaking with our founder and then my co-president, Trisha Harding. In fact, Joseph, while I'm answering, I don't know if you could quickly find that link.
Yeah,
It's
I
in
can do
our
that.
Beyond High Performance podcast, where we talk about how we integrate AI and asking, this is a nuclear question. Instead of asking, how do I use AI, is how might AI enhance our humanity? I love it. I love it because of how I'm using it and the value that's being created. AI enhances some of our ability to coach. I do believe that AI will probably render useless some coaches in the world. They'll need to figure out how to level up from it. I think there's a certain level of coach who might be a bit more paint by numbers, and AI just asks more helpful questions. But there's a different kind of partnership that's created, which we've all experienced, where I've read the book, guys. I saw the blog. I did the AI prompt for here's the 5 powerful questions. Now I'm in the gym. I know I'm supposed to do bench pressing, but there's somebody there who's not a robot who can see it in my face that I could lift more. See it in my face that I got one more rep in me. See it in my face that I actually came in really undone because of an argument with my wife and I need to get out of my head before I get on that treadmill. That is the power of a coach who is in your world, not just answering your questions. So
I'll
that's,
add one more thing
go ahead,
here
please.
too, which is the place that we can often ask that question from, which is uh, um, ultimately it's like it's coming from a posture of scarcity. Is this all I need? Right. So as in, is an LLM who can help me information gather all I need? And let me like go to find the minimal uh, investment for a little bit of return or a little bit like maybe this will fix me. So it's silver bullet type thinking rather than I wonder how else this will uh, add to my world. And now it can become a multiplayer environment rather than a um, basically like what is the
Minimum
cheapest most
effective dose.
that's right, minimum effective dose. That's a great way of putting
Mm-hmm.
it.
Can I share a
Yep.
little bit about how I've been playing with it for the past 18 months?
Ooh,
And
for
By all
sure.
means,
yeah,
yeah.
so I've been
So
testing it
I'm
the
going to take
past.
notes real quick.
So Julie, I'm glad that you were asking something that I'm asking. So what I found was I created something that I built myself a little bit within ChatGPT, and then I did something with Claude. Now I'm testing a purpose designed platform, and I've
Great.
had like different experiences. I find that the depth of experience with the cognitive leaps and the specificity and personalization of the questions that I get with the human coach is unparalleled, and just no
Mm-hmm.
LLMs are being able to duplicate that.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Well, and
asking a
Todd, he
level.
just finished the ACC. He understands like there's a whole like there's different ways of describing it. Global listening is one of them, where it's like I'm paying attention to the tone of your voice and that little flutter in your eye, and the fact that we haven't talked about that one thing for 3 weeks. Why haven't we brought that up again? That up until now, at least, the robots are not. That's not how they're tuned to do it. No problem, but
Exactly.
yeah.
The advantage that I'm finding specifically with the purpose designed app is it is serving as a digital journal and as
Mm-hmm.
immediate gratification for some of an anxious thought or a really strong trigger that happened, because it's 24/7. But I know that it's a placeholder for a conversation topic that I want to dive deeper into. And it's a trend spotter, it's a blind spot spotter,
Great.
and it's more so about like trend analysis and pattern recognition. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm using it for. It's like a digital journal for that, to help elevate a summary, not a true synthesis, of what my conversations and my stream of consciousness is coming up with, that I can then take as I want to talk about these two topics with my therapist and coach. And as I do that over the past 18 months, I get so much more value out of like the superficial like the first 1 or 2 layers of some thoughts with my AI coach, mentor, LLM. And then I take that to the human and I get layers 15,
That's so great.
Manju has the last question.
Yeah,
We're
Manju,
4 minutes past though.
Great. Manju, I'd love to take a swing at this question. And this is great. This goes back to actually to how we started, which is kind of saying like, who's the boss in the coaching relationship? Is it the coach that you listen to the coach and they tell you what to do? Is it you because you're paying? And one of what we ground into at the start of every coaching relationship is that the vision is the boss. And so the vision is the thing that calls me into the value I create through my participation. And so that is the question that you're asking, how do I know this human coach who can add value, is a great question to ask that coach. And then see how they respond. And if their response is like, oh, I've got to figure out how to add value for you, might not be the coach for you. But if the response is something like, I have no idea, what value are you committed to create for yourself? Then you might be in the right place. You might have a coach that will help you generate the value you want.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much for your questions, for your interaction. This was a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.